reading from the Gospel of Mark. They went on from there and passed through Galilee. Jesus did not want anyone to know it, for he was teaching his disciples, saying to them, "The Son of Man is to be betrayed into human hands, and they will kill him. And 3 days after being killed, he will rise again." But they did not understand what he was saying and were afraid to ask him. Then they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" But they were silent, for on the way they had argued with one another who was the greatest. He sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "Whoever wants to be first must be last of all and a servant of all." Then he took a little child and put it among them, and taking it into his arms, he said to them, "Whoever becomes one such child in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me." The phrase in this passage that caught my attention today is the phrase, "They were afraid to ask him." I wonder what it was like for the disciples to hear what Jesus just said to them, that he was going to be betrayed and killed. This was the Messiah they were talking about. This was the man that they had left everything for to follow. And he just said that he was going to be betrayed and killed. Now, I wonder what was going through their head: confusion, anxiety, fear. But the thing that overtook them was that they were afraid to ask. Have you ever been in a position where you were afraid to ask a question of maybe an employer or your parents or a partner or your spouse, something? I have. And it is the fear of unknowing that makes me so anxious. And holding on to a question that I desperately want to ask and not asking is some of the most torturous anxiety I've ever experienced in my life. And I know that maybe asking the question or the conversation that will follow is going to be hard, is going to be challenging, is probably a conversation I don't want to have. But in all honesty, it can't be as bad as sitting with that anxiety of the unknown. And here the disciples did exactly that. I wonder what that felt like, that overwhelming anxiety that they continue to follow this man, and in their hearts of hearts, they're sitting with this question of, what does this mean? What does it mean for you, Jesus, and what does it mean for us? I wonder if we're holding on to those kind of questions right now. Whether they're questions that we need to ask in our prayer life to God, or if there's questions about God that we need to ask at church or in Bible study or Sunday school, or questions we need to ask of people that we're in relationships with. The questions that we know are going to lead to a conversation that's going to be hard. But my friends, it cannot be as bad as sitting in this anxiety and wonder. Why are we so afraid to ask these questions? I thank God that we're part of a faith community at St. James and in the Episcopal Church that is very comfortable with questions. We are okay with not having every single answer, but we need to ask the questions. We need to. Amen.